Greetings and welcome to the first video of SealsTech. This channel is going to be dedicated to modding stuff, breaking electronics, and overall having fun. And in this episode, we're going to be taking a look at something that came out back in 2018, the PlayStation Classic. It originally was retailing for $100, but I picked it up the other day for $20 because it was on sale for Amazon Prime Day. I didn't get it on Amazon Prime, I did get it at Best Buy. But we're going to go ahead and take a look at it. We're going to mod it. We're going to switch out some of the games. I'm going to show you how a step-by-step guide on how to switch out the games. And then we're going to go from there. If you've seen any of my stuff that I've done with other channels, you know that I really like breaking stuff. And I have fun doing it. So let's get started. So we're going to actually get started by looking at what comes inside the box. At first glance, the PlayStation Classic box is almost identical to the original PlayStation. On the back of the box, we can see all 20 games that comes preloaded into the system. These games are the games that we're going to switch out, and I'll show you how to do that later. After opening up the box, we are greeted with a nice black PlayStation logo. And finally, what we wanted to get our hands on, the Classic itself. This is based on the original design and not the many iterations of the PS1. We can see that they made the controller ports USB, which will help us with this mod as we're going to be using it to install BleemSync OS on it. Inside the under compartment, we can get our hands on the controllers. The controllers are based off of the original controller, not the DualShock. The buttons do feel good. As you can see, it's really nice and clicky. They're probably using the pressure buttons like they did in the original PlayStation. And this is everything that comes in the box. 2 controllers, an HDMI, a micro USB cable, and the manual. Of course, to save some money, they neglected to include the power brick. So in order for you to do this mod, you're going to need a few things. You're going to need a flash drive, preferably a 16 gigabit flash drive. You can do 32. You can actually do like a big flash drive if you're going to plan on booting everything off of your flash drive and running the games off your flash drive than the actual console. But for this mod, we're going to run the games off the console. We're going to replace it. That way, it doesn't look tacky with the flash drive sticking out of your PlayStation Classic. You're going to need a program on your laptop or computer to allow you to SSH into the PlayStation Classic. You're going to need an FTP file transfer protocol program such as FileZilla to transfer the actual data, to transfer the game onto it. And that's pretty much it. That's all you're going to need to do this mod. Let's take a look at the PlayStation Classic. We are greeted with a somewhat nostalgic splash screen that is reminiscent of the original splash screen, but is not accurate. The interface looks nothing like the original PlayStation. There isn't much in the settings. The memory card does look nostalgic to the original memory card slots. So let's just take a look at the reason why we want to do this mod. Now, if we want to take a look at Cold Borders, for example, this runs in PAL. And let me tell you, I played this game quite a bit back in the day, and I can tell you that the mountains are tearing more than usual, and the response time is pretty lackluster. Now, Metal Gear Solid, on the other hand, is the NTSC Region 1 version, and it looks identical to the original. I can't really tell the difference, but I did play that game more on the PC than I did on the original PlayStation. Because the PC one did include first-person shooting mode. So to get started with the Softmod, we are going to need to take the USB and format it with a Mac disk utility tool. We're going to format it to FAT32. You can also do this in Windows using disk management. Make sure that the drive is named Sony in all caps. Then we need to go to modmyclassic.com to download BleemSync. This will unlock the PlayStation Classic full potential. Since we are doing this with a Mac, we will need to install the driver for the PlayStation Classic. So we're going to have to click on this link here. Next, we will get a database editor like SQLite. This will allow us to edit some stuff that we need to in order for the PlayStation Classic to recognize what games we placed on it. Finally, we need FileZilla to transfer the games. Now, since we all got that done, let's go ahead and unzip BleemSync and move it to the flash drive that we just named Sony. And then we're going to eject the flash drive. Now this part is where it can be a little tricky. We will remove the power, plug in the USB, plug the power back in, and turn it on. The PlayStation should boot normally, and then BleemSync splash page should appear. But as you can see, it is unsuccessful. This is a problem with the mod. Sometimes the Linux OS this PlayStation Classic is based off of doesn't see the flash drive in time before booting into the GUI. After 4 attempts, I finally got BleemSync to load, and as you can see, the PlayStation Classic power indicator is now flashing between green and red, which is to be expected. Although the process was successful, there was some issues during the process of using BleemSync. BleemSync did not create any backups, so I'm going to go ahead and try to figure out what's going on. So during this process, we did have an issue with the PlayStation Classic booting up in BleemSync because of the flash drives. PlayStation Classic is notorious for only accepting certain flash drives, and originally if you watch the video up to this point, you would see that I'm booting up into this flash drive right here, which is Data Traveler. It's a generic flash drive, 16 gigs, and it wasn't booting correctly. I mean, it did eventually boot up into BleemSync, but it did run into some problems when it came to running the execution of the backup of the PlayStation Classic. So then we ended up trying this flash drive, which is made by Pina? I don't know. It's a 32 gig flash drive, but the issue with this flash drive is there's a little light, and oftentimes when you turn on the PlayStation Classic, the light would turn on and it wouldn't boot into the flash drive before it boot into the OS. So finally we just swapped out to SanDisk, which I hate SanDisk, but that's neither here or there. This ended up working and created the files we needed, and it was really easy to boot in. So it can take some trial and error when it comes to the flash drives, but just keep going through it and seeing which ones work for you. Okay, now that we figured out the issue, we're going to move on by plugging in the PlayStation Classic micro USB into the computer, open up a program that will let us SSH into it. In order to SSH into it, you're going to be using SSH root at 169.253.215.100. And look, we are connected to the system, and we can poke around the file system by typing in df. We can see the mount points and the free space of the system. So what we're looking for at this point is a mount point called GAA data. This is where the games are stored, and as you can see, it's right here. We can navigate to the file system to see what's on that by just simply using a cd/GAA data command. That's going to navigate us to the folder. If we list the directory, we can see everything inside the directory. These are going to be all the games in this location and the database that we're going to be editing later. Let us go ahead and make a backup of this onto our computer just in case we mess anything up. So let's load up FileZilla, input the information that we just inputted to SSH in it. The only difference is you're going to type in the IP address for us and then the username root, and you're going to leave password blank. You're going to connect to it, and then navigate to that GA data folder, GAA data folder, and just simply right click and hit download. Now this is going to take a few minutes to download, so while we wait, let's go ahead and take a look at the game file I'm going to upload. I'm going to be uploading Tomb Raider, and as you can see, the files are binary files and one Q file. The Q file tells the PlayStation Classic in what order to load the binary files, so you just want to migrate all this to the PlayStation Classic when you do have the space available. Now let's go ahead and move back to FileZilla and see where we stand. The backup is finished, and I will delete one of the games off the Classic, then upload Tomb Raider in its place. It will upload the binary files and the Q files. You will also need to download a PNG file for the box art and name it the same exact name as your Q file. The reason why you need to name it the same thing as the Q file is because the database that we're going to edit here shortly looks at that file name and matches everything to it, so the GUI and the game could load up on the PlayStation Classic. So speaking of the database, let's go ahead and edit the database next. Now that the file name is regional.db, you're going to go ahead and open that up. SQLite should automatically open. We're going to go ahead and navigate to browse the data. As you can see, game ID 1, which corresponds to the folder 1, is Battle Arena Toshirin. Hope I'm saying that right. So on the drop down menu, go ahead and select disk, then go to the base name. We need to replace it with the name of the Q file that we just uploaded for Tomb Raider. This tells the emulator what files to load. So we're going to name it Tomb Raider version 1.6. Head back to the games and edit the information here. This information will be displayed on the PlayStation Classic menu. Now we are going to write the changes to the file and upload it to the PlayStation Classic. Navigate back to FileZilla and navigate to where you save the database file to, and then the database folder on the PlayStation Classic, and just right click and hit upload. Of course, you're going to want to overwrite this file, and that's it. As you can see, Tomb Raider's right there with the box art that I just uploaded. And I just launched it, and it looks like everything's working great. So modding this guy wasn't really that difficult. It was pretty easy. We just did a simple software mod that injected some code into the Linux OS, which was pretty much simple. I do recommend going to modmyclassic.com and joining the Discord there if you want to do some crazy mods, because you can mod more stuff than just that. You can mod the themes of it. You can mod the video that plays with it. You can mod the backgrounds. There's a lot of potential in modding this, and for $20 it was a pretty good steal at that point. So yeah, I'm gonna go have fun and play some Final Fantasy VIII, and I'll see you guys next time.